days are coming in which they shall say, blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bear, and the paps that never gave suck. Then shall they begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. And if they do these things, for if they do these things in a green tree, what shall be done in the dry? You see. Pilate went to the people 3 different times and said, look, I find no fault in this man at all. Why should I crucify him? Let me just chastise him and let him go. And they wouldn't have it. They said, no, crucify. Crucify. Crucify him. Or we'll have it no other way. And they continued to chant, crucify him. And Pilate, for fear of the people, gave in and said, crucify him. And as they led him up Golgotha's hill, and he was under this great burden of the cross, and he had been beaten beyond recognition, he could no longer bear the load of the cross, and they picked out a man out of the crowd and had him to bear the cross. And as he went up Calvary's hill, there were many people that followed him, but what stuck out to him was this group of women that were crying and lamenting, it says, behind him. And this is what he said unto them. He said, daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me. Weep not for me, but for yourselves and for your children. For behold, the days are coming in which they shall say, blessed are the barren. He said, there's coming a day right out ahead that these women are going to say, blessed is that one that never brought a child into the world, because the times are going to become so bad and so horrid. At the end of our days, at the ending of days, at the final return of Christ, at the end of all of what we've been preaching for years and years and years, when it all comes to an end, they'll be crying, thank God that I didn't bring children into the world to see the horrors that are happening. And I would say even today, the hideous, the hideous crimes that I've ever seen, the most hideous, let's do it that way. The most hideous things that I've ever seen done are being done today. If you take into account, and I know it's one of the things that's on the forefront right now, but it's one of the things that I think is most horrible. This women trafficking and this sex slaves and all of this that are being done in that realm of wickedness and evil. I've never seen such. And stories come out all the time that just literally make my skin crawl. They break my heart. And I see it done to little small 8, 9, 10 little-year-old children that have suffered such pain and misery and wickedness and evil and violence at the hands of some person. And I have to think the devil has gained so much control in these last days to carry people to a place like that in their mind that they can take another human being and treat them that way. How ungodly have we become? How ungodly have we become? We have become so ungodly that we think it's okay. We are making laws in our country that it's okay to jerk the babies from the womb of the mother before it's even born and just kill it. And if it does happen to be born alive and they decide they don't want it, just take something and smash it. Just kill it. And they call that abortion. And they say, well, that's all about women's rights. That's about murder. That's all it's about is murder. That's murder. And we're doing it to the tune of, we've already done it to the tune of 60 million unborn babies. 60 million. Not some godless, communist country, not some place that's known for pure wickedness and vile and wretched things. Not a country that's known for freedom and peace and the American way. But we now cover up under the cloak of peace and righteousness, murder and deceit and vile and wicked things that happen every day in our world. And even in the halls of Congress are being voted on as being okay, calling good bad and bad good in our country today. And that's what Jesus spoke of. He said, don't cry for me. He said, there's coming a day out ahead of you that there's going to be people that say, thank God that those never gave birth to children and brought them in to a wicked and vile world. And I can't imagine one much more vile and wicked and violent than the one we live in today. I'm scared for my grandkids to even get out of the sight of their parents or me. I'm nervous about it. I worry about it when somebody's not looking at them, when somebody hadn't got their eye on them. I worry to death about them because they're being snatched out of a car or having a birthday party in a front yard and the children are just being snatched up and taken off at 3 years old. 3 years old to go through God knows what. God knows what before they kill them. What are we doing? And we as a church seem to just kind of be lulled to sleep and saying, oh, everything's okay, everything's okay. Everything is not okay.
Amen.
Our world is at the end of time. And if we're ever going to do anything for God, we better do it now.
Amen.
We better do it now because the curtains are closing on this world as we know it. Then shall they begin to say to the mountains, fall on us and cover us. It says, for they do these things in a green tree. What shall be done in a dry? In other words, if they would take the Son of God, God himself, drag him out in front of the world, beat him, hang him on a cross, naked, and crucify him, what's left? What more wicked could be done? How vile could a generation get? How vile could a world get that would take out the Son of God and be saying, crucify him! Crucify! We don't want anything to do with him. God being drug out, spit upon, slapped, and hung on a cross to die. But you know what? From the wicked and the violence and all that I hear goes on every day, it wouldn't surprise me to see it even today. There's a generation of people that have become so wicked and so violent that I wouldn't put it past them at all. They have no concern for it at all. They do worse than this on a regular basis. So my point is today, I want you to leave here reminded that there's a reason that you show up every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night. And as the time draweth nigh, I see the church literally falling apart. I see the church literally falling apart. I see the passion being lost. I see the commitment being laid down. I see the burning desire to be faithful to God diminishing quickly. I'm talking about so fast, it's apparent. It's measurable, day by day, week by week. What Satan is doing to the church is measurable by the numbers. And say, okay, we were at 250, then we were at 200, now we're at 150. We look like we're down to about 130. Now it's going down below 100. Now, listen, just that fast. And then what happens? Then what happens? The church runs and hides. Runs and hides from the violence. From the violence. And God no longer has a say in what goes on. And nobody's standing up for God anymore. And there's no reason to go to church anymore. We can't let that happen.
Amen.
It's happening everywhere. There's churches that started out by not having Sunday evening services. And it seems to be with me in resistance to it, and many others, although there are fewer and fewer that have resistance to it, it's even beginning to happen here in Vision Baptist Church. But I see it in huge congregations that they had church every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night, and the glory of God was lifted up, and Jesus was honored at all those times. And all of a sudden, we don't have church on Sunday anymore. And my heart just dropped. And I'm talking about pastors that have been pastors for years and years and years. And I look them in the face, and they look so empty. Amen. They look so abandoned. And they said, we don't have church on Sunday nights anymore. The church voted to not have church on. And he just looked so abandoned. His will completely broken. And then they expect him to come and preach on that Sunday morning, and knowing that they've already given up Sunday night. And then little I know, within 3 weeks. So we also voted we're not going to have Wednesday night anymore either. Now we're down to one service on Sunday. That's it. We don't meet on Wednesday. We don't meet on Wednesday night. This is a huge congregation. Started out at the time that this fall started, and this thing started tumbling downward. There was a congregation of about 1,500. Within 6 months, they were blessed if they had 300. Within 3 months, they even show up for the Sunday morning service anymore. And then ran a survey to find out what happened, to see if they went to church somewhere else. They just don't go to church anymore. Nowhere. And I'm talking about those that were deacons and elders in that church. They don't go to church anymore at all. This is the church age. This is the time for the church. This is where Jesus said the church would do the most work and be the strongest. And now the church is, God help us that it not happen here. Amen. That it not happen here. And he said, well, you just, Brother Jimmy, you just, just kind of getting excited about nothing. Come Sunday evening and see. Come Sunday evening and see. I'm telling you, Sunday evening service is going from 100, 110, 115 to 45 in a matter of a month and a half. Well, it ain't happening here. Oh, yeah. Oh, what's the matter with you? Wake up. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. That's what's happening. And it could happen to us. And I don't want to stand idly by and not say, scares the fire out of me. Scares the fire out of me. Worries me about where those people are at then. If they don't come to church, what are they doing? And Jesus said it would be this way. He said, then shall they begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and the hills cover us. For if they do these things in a green tree, what shall happen in a dry? If they could do these things to the Son of God, when the power of God, the presence of God was literally, physically with them, if they could do those things in a green tree, what would they do? They thought about this. What would they do if he were crucified and gone? My God, if they're willing to do this in a green tree, what would they do in a dry? This is my cry this morning. This is my cry this morning. Let's go back to Calvary. Let's go back to the cross. Let's go back to the commitment that we made. Let's go back to when we said, Lord, will you? And he said, I will. And we said, Lord, if you do, then we will. But now we don't. What's happened to us? Don't let the devil slip in to your life, to your heart, to your church, to your child's life, into their life, to where they are discouraged and they give up. Because I'm telling you, they can only run on that they watch you do. They can only be strengthened by that they watch Mom and Daddy do. And if Mom and Daddy don't care, then they won't care. So we have to get our fire back. We have to get our commitment back. I'd like to see as many or more than this here this afternoon than I see now. It's time to either stand up or stand down. And I'm not going to stand down without a fight. I'm not going to stand down without a fight. And I'm going to fight for the Lord. So as I close this morning, if you were here and lost, God have mercy on your soul. If you could sit through a service to where this was depicted right out in front of you, and your heart not be touched, and you not be drawn by the Spirit of God to the saving power of Christ, boy, I'm worried for you. But listen, I promise you this. If you'll reach out to Christ, He'll save you. I don't care how far you have fallen. He'll save you just like you are. He'll redeem your life. He'll set your foot back on high. He'll give you eternal life. But not only that, He'll come into your life, into your heart, and help you with the pain, with the hurt, and with the sorrow that you feel. If you'll trust in Him today, He's not limited at all by what they did at Calvary. Right. He has just as much power. He's still God. He's still in the saving business. He's still, the blood that was shed has just as much power as the day it was shed. So why don't you call out to the Lord this morning? And those of us that are His children, that feel the power of God being smothered out in us by whatever means Satan is using. I don't know what he's using in your life. I know he's certainly attacking mine. But I don't know what he uses in your life to smother the coal, to smother the fire out. But he will smother it out if you let him. So I want you to challenge him this morning. I want you to come. You that have families that say, you know what, I'm going to give mine up. I'm going to take my stand. I'm not standing down. I'm standing up. I'm not going to have this. And you don't have to. We don't have to surrender to him. We are the victors. We're not the victims. We're the victors. We've won. Yes. We've already won. We just need to take our proper place and not let it be lost to the devil. So I encourage you this morning that we need to stand up for God before we have to stand down in weakness. Father, as I close, God, you know my heart and you know God.